Hi everyone, the following video is a recording of our 54th Artist Feedback AMA session featuring all genres of photography. This session was held in the MetaJungle Discord on November 18th and hosted by the talented photographers Mike Schmidt and Arwen Levinson. We want to thank Mike and Arwen for taking the time to review 12 different minted and pre-minted NFT collections and editions. This session provided really helpful information for the curation and creation of your NFT collections and editions. We also want to thank everyone that was able to attend and all the artists that submitted their work for review. We hope you find this session helpful, and with that, let's go on ahead and get into it.
And you guys should be able to see, I'm looking at Wings in Time. It's actually on OpenSea testnet. So this is a testnet, and if you look, it says chain is Gorelli. That's what it looks like when you're making your own custom contract in Manifold, and you want to put everything on the testnet first, so that you don't mint something to the main net and pay real Ethereum by accident. And you sort of can use the test net to make sure that everything looks good before you do anything. So this is the first like Gorelli test net that we've had in an AMA. I think it's a really good idea to get feedback on your stuff before you mint to the main net. It's probably the best time. So this looks like it's pre-mint, but at the same time, I think in one of her questions, said something about how can she, get rid of her old collection. Can you pull that up actually, Orwin? Because that's probably important to what I'm talking about here. It's like one of the questions was, what can I do to get my collection unstuck? Collection originally released August 2021. So
I think she said she's moving it to Manifold, and so that's why it's on this net probably now.
yeah, so I've never actually moved a collection that I had already created on just like OpenSea itself. I'm unstuck. So I mean, can we get the link to the original collection that's stuck, I guess, and take a look at that? And if there's no sales, then you can just delete that one and just make this one. But if there is sales, then I think then that's where there's maybe an issue. And Anne, if you're here, we can unmute and get a better idea at what she's trying to do.
She is here.
Or she can type, that's fine too.
Well, I had some ideas about maybe getting it. I think by unstuck, she means to start getting sales on it again.
Yeah, I do. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
I think I'm unmuted now. Yeah. So I originally released this in August 2021, and it was lazy minted on OpenSea, and I sold 2 of them. And so I'm not really too concerned. I know that if I release this now on Manifold, that I can put in a support request to OpenSea and have them merge the 2. So I'm not really too concerned about that. I'm just more concerned about, they sat for over a year. So I'm not really sure what I can do to, I'm not sure if there's something wrong with it that I don't know about, or,
Okay.
I only sold 2 of them, so.
Yeah, well, that makes more sense then. That unstuck. So I guess Arwen was right that you mean like not sitting, and that's cool that
Right.
that OpenSea will merge the 2, I guess, sold pieces. They'll merge the 2 sold pieces with the manifold contract. Is that what they'll do?
Yeah, apparently if you put in a support request, they will merge your Manifold collection with an existing collection.
Right. Okay. So I had them do that before, and it's really just in the UI. Like, there's still 2 separate contracts, but in the UI, they actually merge it so it looks like one collection. So I had a piece that was just sitting randomly on OpenSea, and then I started doing a manifold collection, and they kind of went well together. So I asked them to merge it for organization purposes, so that, you know, I didn't just have these random pieces sitting out there. And they're actually pretty quick about doing it. But of course, if you look at it on any other platform, it won't be merged together.
Makes sense. And so
Right. And I'm
the
not sure if I'm going to leave these on OpenSea or maybe put them on Foundation. That's another thing I haven't decided.
yeah, I notice a lot of people using Foundation lately, actually, but like using it in a way of auctions. Maybe because the auction um, is an easier concept to sell, I guess, during maybe during this market where like people kick something off at like a lower price. I know Dan Hawk's been doing really well at this, and um, Christopher Shin, a few other people, but where people kick it off at a lower price, and we sort of have like a collector group chat where everybody in the group chat, you know, can see that people are bidding on it, and so kind of encourages bidding, and then, you know, maybe the piece sells at a price that's closer to what you're looking to get on OpenSea. But I don't know. I don't know exactly. I haven't actually played around with. I haven't really minted new work in a really long time outside of my legacy collection. But Foundation seems like it's more alive than it has ever been. So might not be a bad idea. So two of the images in that I'm looking at right now are sold, or those that would make 12.
Right, that would make 12. The 2 sold pieces aren't showing here on Goerli.
Okay, cool.
Do you want the link for the sold pieces?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
I actually have some ideas. While he's looking at that, I'll go ahead and talk about them. I think I've probably shared some of these with you before, Anne, but I really love the collection, and I really can't think of any constructive feedback on the collection itself. I'm not really a wildlife photographer, and I mean, from my, you know, amateur eyes, it looks great, and I love the idea, the way you show the birds like in motion, which is different than, you know, usually how you see wildlife photography. I think, you know, when I saw the shot that you put when you sent this in with the slices from them, I really liked that. And I thought one marketing angle you might be able to take, and I know that Hendro did this with his collection, is, you know, kind of advertise them as great for banners. So they don't fit in banners perfectly how they are, but if you could crop them kind of like the slices, not for the main image, but maybe as like downloadable content or something like that. Maybe you could promote it saying that, you know, you get the NFT and plus an image that's perfect for the banner in a different format, which might be, you know, a new way of marketing it.
That's a good idea.
That's a great idea, yeah.
This one is really, really, really beautiful and really stands out to me. Like the pink on blue is really gorgeous. The reflections are these, you know, I think it's really interesting what you're doing, because like you said, and like when I read the artist statement about, you know, how these animals they do things so quickly that we don't really get to see it with the naked eye, and so you're using high speed photography to capture those moments of movement, and then compositing them. And you know, people can composite things, and sometimes it looks you know, looks composited, but in these images, I think you did a really, really, really good job at making these composited in a way that they look natural, and we can see the natural movement of the animal. But this one feels very fine art too. I mean, most of them do, but really beautiful. Is there one in particular, Arwen, that you like?
Well, I wanted to continue along what I was saying about
Yeah,
the
yeah.
I
Absolutely.
think if you do that, and then you could put a different one of them in your banner, like each week or something like that. Or, maybe pick one to focus on trying to sell that week and put it in your banner. And then, keep tweeting about it, that it's good in the banner and this is in your banner, and that might work as well. And then another thing that I would advise, although maybe you've already done this, is to look at other wildlife photographers. Like Bryn comes to the top of my mind, and see who's collected their pieces, and make sure you're following all of them that you can find, and also maybe reply to their tweets only when you have something relevant to say. But just be really persistent and keep doing that, and then that would draw more eyes to it as well.
Yeah, that's a good idea too. Thank you so much. I really appreciate all this feedback. I really love the banner idea. I never thought about doing that before. One thing that I have done is I have had a video made. I got David Fairs to make a sort of a trailer video for me, so I have that ready to go whenever I'm about to drop this collection, which I haven't decided exactly when I'm going to do it. I'm kind of waiting for the market to turn a little bit. But I'm looking forward to that. The video looks really cool.
Yeah, David Fairs, I heard I heard from multiple people that like he's the one to go to make a nice movie like introduction video. So that's really cool.
He did an amazing job.
I'm sure. Yeah, these are beautiful. This one is gorgeous. Like some of these when I open them up, they feel like really, really like fine art, wildlife. Reminds me a bit of like Hendro in a way. And this is cool. Is this a scene of one bird and he's going into a different position, or is this a scene of like two birds and they're meeting each other?
This is actually the only one in the collection that is two birds. So the
Wow.
two on the right
Yeah.
are the same bird, and the two on the left are the same bird. In the rest of the entire collection is only one bird in different positions.
Wow. So the the original is this left bird flying in and this one just hanging out. And then
Right.
then what happens is they have a communication with the
Right.
middle one. Yeah, this
Yeah.
is brilliant. And like what's going on in the background here, like this colored flower that's coming up and feels very painterly. Really, really beautiful one. Love that very
So
much. And
what I like to do is I kind of make a painterly effect of the background. And in some of them, not all of them, and this is another thing, is that they're not all like this, but in some of them, they have other things mixed in with the background. Like some of them have acrylic paintings or a watercolor painting or a piece
this
of a
one,
map. That one with the herons, it has some a handwritten letter. You have to look pretty closely to see it. There's a handwritten letter
I
mixed
see
into
it
the
here. I see it
background of
here.
that.
It's white and it's like in Sanskrit or script. Yeah. Wow, nice. I knew there was something to it. Yeah, some of those ones are very fine art. I think the ones that work more for me are the ones that like have, um, well, I was going to say a simpler background, but actually, this one that I just had pulled up, the two birds, it's not the simplest background, but when you open it up, it feels really it doesn't feel busy. It actually doesn't feel busy. You figured out a way to make it not feel busy, and I think you did the same thing with the heron one as well. Like it doesn't feel busy, even though it has a lot going on in the background. Where there's a more minimalistic background here with the what is this rosate's spoonbill, where that
Yeah.
also works really well, and I feel like this one does too. The Paris
That is
Hawk
the one
landing.
that has a watercolor painting in the background.
Yeah, it's beautiful, and just the steps that the hawk takes here in landing from the first phase to the second. It's just really cool. The second one is really, really cool. he just, I don't know, he seems really majestic. And he seems majestic in all three. But yeah, this is great. Composition is great. Yeah, I haven't quite seen this before. And you have a lot of good properties in here, right? So
I also wanted to comment on the description of the collection. Don't know if you're not done with it, but one of the things we usually like to review is the description, and doesn't really say a lot in it. So I would probably flesh it out and really, talk about, you know, what you did with these, and
I
I would
actually
like to
put the
know how.
description in with each image.
yeah, I think if you're looking at this is a default description that
Yeah.
Manifold like puts in. So
Okay.
I think it's just not complete yet. The real description I'll read now. So I'll open it up. So about wings in time. I invite you to see what I see when I sit in the wild watching the poetry in motion, the rhythm of nature. That is a bird. My inspiration for this collection comes from poetry and music. Some writers are able to take ordinary words and combine them to create meaningful and lyrical poetry. Musicians have seemingly endless ways to combine sounds to create melodies and rhythms that can bring us to tears or bring us to dance. Inspired by those writers and musicians, in this collection, I combine single images to create visual poems that capture the spirit of a bird. These tiny slices of time reveal details that we cannot see with the naked eye because they happen so quickly. Using high speed photography, I capture many frames of a bird in motion and then composite those into a single image to convey the essence of the bird, what it must feel like for a killdeer to come in for a fast landing, for a heron to gently touch down on a precise spot, or for a merganser, I think that's how you say that guy, for a merganser to catch a fish. Um, More than a single note, more than a single word, they have a rhythm that creates an experience. So reading that, I really, really, really love that. I love that artist statement. So reading that, Arwen, do you have anything on that artist statement or
No,
description?
I think that's great, but you know, I think you can edit it here on the test net and put it actually in the collection description. Because if you look, this is how it's going to actually show on OpenSea, and you will be able to go and edit it. Although I had some problems with it, I had to have them fix it after they merged the collection. But like About Wings in Time is down here, and it says this collection has no description yet. So you'll want to edit it and put the collection description in there.
Yeah, for sure. I was wondering about putting it where I put it. Like I will put it as well in the collection description, but I kind of feel like, when it shows up on other platforms or if someone buys one and sells it somewhere else, the description can kind of get lost. So I wanted to put it in with each actual NFT as well.
Right.
I
I
think
like having it in both places.
Yeah.
One thing I would encourage you maybe to put in the description somewhere is, how you created these. Like, some people might be interested to know, like, how is the same bird in here so many times? So just, maybe after the description you have, maybe putting a little bit about, how they were created.
Well, that part's in the
Yeah.
the part's in the artist statement, right? Where you said you used high speed photography to capture the motion and then composited it in.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
Yeah.
okay.
think,
I missed that.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think that having it in each image is fine. It should probably just come after like a little description about maybe like a little description about like that specific bird, its type, and if maybe something about, yeah, like what separates that bird. Is it a hunter? Is it, like, is it majestic in its way? Does it swoop down to catch fish? Is it a more of whatever type. I don't know much about birds. I'm not a bird watcher, but something like that. And then after that, you can have like collection description, and then that can
Okay.
be in each piece. I think that would be probably the best way to go about doing it. Like, so you said when it's on different chains, the collection description will carry across
Yeah.
to
So
all
I
those
did put a
chains.
little piece about each one, but I put it after the
Oh,
collection description, and maybe I should reverse
I
those and
think
put
it should
the little
be.
blurb about the individual image first and then the
Yes,
collection description.
I think it should be reversed. Like, yeah. So description and then artist statement after, because this is like the artist statement, but description of the original. Because like the collector probably is going to be drawn to one of the images more than the rest in here, so they're going to want to know like about that image probably first, and then they probably already read about the collection in the artist statement. So I would just prioritize it in that order of description, and then artist statement. I think it would
Yeah, I
better.
agree. That would
Yeah,
be
that's a good idea because then at least when you go into each one, the first words you read will be different. Because right now they're all the same because I started with the collection description, so you might not even know that that other little blurb is down there about that image.
Also, in the properties, having the edition size, so that carries over, like one of one, right?
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
so
Okay, I
I think
never
that's
thought of that. That
that's
putting that it's a one of one.
yeah, that's a really important property. I think it's the most important one. I think artist name is really important. I think the license is really important, and I think the edition size is really important because, like you said,
Okay.
carrying over to other platforms, uh, with editions being really popular,
Right.
we just don't know, and so like to have that in the properties is sort of like like it's like evidence that what I purchased was what you said it was. So we're
Right. Okay,
definitely
thank
add
you.
those.
I never thought of that.
Yeah, I mean, other than that, I mean, it's really hard to give any other like little feedback here. I think the work is really, really great. I think it's cohesive. Let me look at the questions here. All the pieces equal in quality. I think so. I mean, if I was to pick stronger images, I think for me it was like the herons, um, uh, these pink ones here. What are these? The roseate spoonbill, the one where you have this painted this background here with two birds. I think that one is maybe my favorite. Um, this one here, the Hawk Landing. Um, I think that maybe the weaker one for me is the Northern Harrier. I think it maybe, and it might have to do with the background of the image here. I just think that let me see, let it open up first. Yeah, it's just the brown and in green. I don't know. It didn't pop to me like some of the other ones. Some of the other ones had a much more dynamic background. And this one was just a little weaker on the background, I think. But
I
yeah, I mean,
agree. And I think the wing blends into the top background
yeah.
too much. Maybe if there's more contrast or something to make it pop out a little bit more, but I
Well,
think they're all fabulous.
yeah, it's all composited. So this one, they could be composited lower in this image that the wings don't cross this like barrier, and that they're all hovering over the green. I don't know, might work better, but yeah, just
That's a good idea. Yeah, I can see what you're saying there for sure. I think I might work on that image some more now.
yeah, you can do that for sure. But I mean,
Yeah.
otherwise, I don't really have anything else. I mean, I think they're pretty much for the most part like equal in quality. I mean, I have my favorites, but everyone's going to kind of have their own favorites. We already talked about the collection description. Um, we answered all the questions. Do you have
I
any
guess
other
I'm just not
questions?
really sure why it seems like the same thing keeps happening where I release a collection and then I only sell like 2 or 3 and the rest of them sit there.
Just keep
Guess it's
promoting
just
it.
a marketing thing, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, What about like Twitter Spaces? I mean, you're obviously good at chatting, so.
I do not go on Twitter Spaces very often, and it's something that I should probably do a lot more of.
Yeah, I mean, this is like a little Twitter space right now. I mean, really, it's just a conversation, but with like, usually a larger audience, and um, and there's a lot of cool hosts out there too. I mean, Sabode is really great. He does Sabode and MetaJungle do the Sunday space. That's really cool where people share. MetaJungle does a Monday space chat and share. So I would
Yeah,
definitely get
I
in one of
really
those
should.
spaces and talk about it, like talk
Okay.
about why you like to do wildlife. That's like, it's always just like a little conversation, like why you like to do wildlife, and what
I have
made you
to be
decide
braver.
to. Yeah, it's the way I think about it is like I'm just talking with the one person that I'm talking with, whether it be the co-host or whatnot, and just talking about my passion. Like I used to think that I had to have like some stuff like written down, like, oh, where am I from? What are like, what did I do? Did I go to school for that? Like, and all this stuff in my head, when it's just really just talk about the work at hand, and like, why you love wildlife and why you decided to show us these animals, these beautiful animals in motion. And yeah, like I think Arwen had a good point about, following those artists that have collectors of wildlife. Hendro for me comes to mind. Also, it's Vivek, who does wildlife as well, and like look at who collects from them, and I mean, can always send a DM to a collector in a nice way and just say like, hey, I noticed you collect wildlife stuff. If you want to take a look at this collection I have coming out, and if you have any feedback or have any interest, let me know, or something like that. So yeah, just staying relevant, and keeping your pinned tweet like as your pinned tweet usually is your current collection that's out, and then you could take an image, like you could take your favorite image from here, make a tweet, and just kind of like telling the story about it, or like making a post saying like, calling all wildlife photographers, like let's share images, and you share first, and then everyone starts to share, and you can get an idea in your head of like who's the wildlife photographers in the space, or who are the people that collect, and sort of like jot that stuff down. So those would be my ideas.
Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I think that the spaces is a big thing for me that I, haven't really participated in them very much. But I have connected with a lot of wildlife photographers, being part of the wildlife collective. And my first wildlife collection was the bald eagle collection, and it sold out. But it was a different time, I guess. That was over a year ago. So
Yeah, it's much different. Yeah, it's much
yeah,
different. I think,
yeah,
yeah, I think a lot of people are, in the same boat, right? It's definitely not easy to drop that collection right now and have it
yeah.
sell out. And
Although
um,
this one was over a year ago too, so I don't know. I just wondered if there was something that I didn't see, but I think that maybe I just need to get out there more in the spaces and talk.
yeah, just got to be in the eyes of more people when it comes to it at the end of the day.
And I also think it's easy, like if something's not selling, to kind of, move on to something else. But, really, I think it's important to keep promoting, those ones as much as possible, because I really have noticed, like, currently I haven't really been promoting my NFTs that are for sale because I've been really busy creating. And I haven't sold anything. And then I noticed when I really start pushing them again, then I mean, it will take time, but after some time, I'll probably sell something. So I think, it's just a matter of, really keeping on top of it.
That is true. That is true for sure. I'm in the same boat. I'm just creating right now, and I'm not pushing any of my stuff. So I don't really see any action on it. So that's definitely true. Time to
Yeah,
create. Right.
yeah, that's why I kind of decided to move this collection to Manifold, kind of get everything ready to go, get some marketing material to go, and I might even get a different collection ready to go and not release this one right away. You know, with things being so slow, I think it's maybe better just to build, get a bunch of stuff ready, and then when things pick up, I'll have more stuff to release one after the next, maybe.
Yeah, it's my exact thought process. It's a good time to just build right now and just work on your passion and write about what you're working on, so that when you have this artist statement to drop, you already have stuff written down. Like I like to go out and take pictures, and also like write in my notes, like on my phone, like what I'm looking at, what kind of unfolds, and get an idea of like what's building as a collection. I mean, that's at least the way I work. Some people have the concept beforehand and then they create the concept. Some people don't have a concept; they go out and the concept creates itself. But yeah, I think it's a good time to build.
Yeah, yeah. And I don't know, this collection is just like I'm passionate about making these, and it's kind of I didn't put this in the artist description or anything, but it's something I sometimes talk about in tweets and that. But this is supposed to be my kind of silver lining here because like I got sick. I've been sick for 4 years and I haven't been able to get out to really make new images. Um, I am now, but excuse me, I developed this autoimmune disease that messed up my joints, and so I can't, hike or carry my gear. I've found ways to photograph since then, but this is the reason I got into making these digital art pieces because I was able to work with images I already had to stay creative and making things. And then that's how I ended up in crypto and NFTs too, because I was just learning because I couldn't make new photos. So I have a real passion for these and I really want these to be, my silver lining, the good thing that came out of my extended illness. I'm just going into remission now, so I'm so happy that hopefully even by spring I'll be back to normal.
Yeah, I hope so too. And that's good that you didn't let that take away from your creativity, and you found um, different routes to still stay creative. And you didn't just say, "Oh, I can't do this anymore. I'm giving up," but instead decided to create on top of your creations, and then also get involved in a complex space like Web3. So um,
Yeah, yeah, it was really hard. I mean, for the first couple of months, because it was something that came on very suddenly. I kind of aged 30 years in about a course of 2 months. And yeah, for the first few months, I was just devastated. Like I'd lost my entire identity since I couldn't photograph or go hiking, and I couldn't handle my boat and, all of that stuff. So it was devastating. But then after a few months of that, I kind of thought, well, what am I what am I going to do? I have to make something, I have to find something to do that feels meaningful. So I ended up getting into digital art and just playing with my existing images this way.
awesome! It's really good to hear that, and hopefully their remission goes well, and by spring, you can be out shooting again.
Yeah, yeah, I hope so.
Cool. Well, with
Well,
that, if
thank
you
you
did,
guys very much
yeah,
for all the feedback. I really appreciate it, and I love the idea of using these as banners. Maybe I'll crop them a different way so that they all work as a banner, and I can include that as unlockable content or something like that. And the edition size is all really good feedback. Thank you so much.
absolutely. And thank you for coming up and speaking with us. Cool. Yeah. So with that, move on to the next collection. Our next collection is I'm just getting my notes here. Is my photo arts, and this is by Ramazan Sirikoglu. Let's take this out. So it's a foundation collection. I will read the description. Um, Hello, this collection includes black and white and imaginative photographs, the situation of humans against environmental problems, the relations between humans and nature are the contents of this collection. So let's take a look. Um, I'm going to open the one for me that actually that not necessarily stood out the most from this year, but when I opened it, I felt worked the most, as far as like feeling, having meaning and feeling emotion from the image, which was this shot here. And this is called my inner loneliness. And so I'm gonna read the description. So this man is retired from his job. He lost some people he loved very much and now lives alone. When he wakes up in the morning, he only sees himself in the mirror. Before going to bed, he sees only himself again. Despite everything, he is making a great struggle and holding on to life. This man lives in Bilecik, city, Turkey, in the village of Borkak, where the Ottoman Empire was first born. So I like this description here. It gives like a little backstory about like where he's from and this is where the Ottoman Empire was first born, and but also that this man's retired and seems like he lost his family and lives alone. And I think um, this capture, this moment in time that you took of him is really, really beautiful moment. He almost seems at peace at the same time. But I thought that from the shots that I looked at, it felt to me like the realest moment. If I open up this one here, Lament the Willow Tree, I didn't exactly get from this shot, what I got from the other one. Just felt like a girl, kind of being hysterical and crying about something. Kids do a lot. Do you uh, do you have a image in particular, Arwen, that like stood out to you in this collection? Like that one stood out to me. Winter View. It's a really cool street shot where the man caught you looking here. I'm gonna read the description on this one. Winter View. The city where I live is extremely cold in winter, and it snows a lot. There is even a famous ski resort. One day it was snowing heavily again, and this portrait was caught on my camera. A pair of eyes tired from heavy snowfall and cold. I definitely like your descriptions. You're a good writer. So I really enjoy reading
I
your.
was I was
But
trying to talk and I was muted.
oh, okay.
I really like this dirty face in the mirror. I like the way it's composed, and I wish I could see the person in the mirror a little more clearly. Um, but I like the photo. It struck me. The one thing that I did want to say about the collection is that I think the description could be a little bit more fleshed out. Like it says this is the relationship between humans and nature, but I don't really feel that when I look at the collection. I do think the girl standing on the tree stump is the one that epitomizes the description of the collection best. So maybe it needs a different description to make these photos more cohesive. I just kind of feel that the collection itself is not that cohesive. Like, even though I like the dirty face in the mirror, I don't think it goes as well with the other three. And also, I don't really see nature in any of these photos except the girl lamenting the tree, which I actually do like because she's lamenting the tree, and that really goes with the description of the way humans see and experience nature. Um, but that's my main comment, is just it was hard for me after reading that description to relate to the other photos as part of the collection.
Yeah, I feel like it's more about like the human condition rather than the human relationship to nature. If they were to tie in together um, as a collection, uh, so I think they all show some type. Um, human condition almost. Like even just like bearing the um, you know, being out in a blizzard like this and commuting to work or whatever he's doing here is part of like the human condition. I guess that's nature as well. The elements of nature at least. But then these, you have two outdoor shots. Then you have two indoor shots, and sometimes black and white can feel like it's cohesive, but then when you look into the images and the stories of the images, you can tell that it's not exactly cohesive and outside of being black and white. But I feel like the first shot and the last shot feel like they could belong in the same collection. Um, but I don't necessarily feel like the second shot and the third shot can belong in the same collection. This seems like a very much like a street candid image. Um, this seems like it doesn't actually feel candid. It just feels like you're with someone maybe that um, knows child, out out in nature. So there's like a few different elements I feel like that are going on here. Some of these feel like very documentary, inner loneliness, dirty face in the mirror, and then winter view feels like street, and lament the willow tree um, feels somewhere in a gray area between that. Does that make any sense, Arwen? Do you feel like that makes sense?
Yeah, it does. And maybe it's English being the second language. Maybe environment would be a better word to use than nature in the description, but I'm really just kind of, that hung up on that. And also the writing in the description of the photos is so great that I really feel like the description of the collection could be a lot,
Yeah.
more potent.
Yeah, more potent, more poetic, more complex, longer. And I think we like some of that exists within the individual descriptions, and so um, I would work on that as the artist with, like Arvin said, writing out a more complex and intriguing description, because we know that you have the literal skill to do it, because you're doing it within the individual photographs. So we see what uh, the questions are. It's, should I add more photos? I mean, not necessarily, unless you're taking the feedback from us that some of these just don't feel like they go with others, and you're going to remove those to add more photos to a collection that will eventually become more cohesive with the addition of those photos. And is black and white style good? I love black and white. Yeah, I think black and white style is really good. I mean, I like black and white particularly like during midday, like heavy sunlight, when shadows and highlights really sort of battle. Um, so that's usually when I'll use black and white, but I mostly shoot a lot of color lately. But I don't see anything wrong with black and white, just as long as you can create a story. I think that a lot of street photography sells as black and white. So, and even landscape too. So I don't know if you had anything on that, Armin.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that most of these lend themselves well to black and white. I mean, especially the first and the last one, where you really have, striking contrast and shapes. Um, so, yeah, I mean, I go back to maybe just, rework the collection a little if you have other photos that would go a little better with with like the first and the last one, or maybe create a couple different collections, because the collection, looking at the whole collection, could be more striking if they really, flowed well together.
Mm-hmm. Great. I'm looking at other images by the same artist. Just looking to see if there was like actually an Instagram link, and there is. So I mean, get this shot. This is beautiful. I mean, this goes in line with the same as that last image and that first image, I'd say. Feels like that. I'm not sure if this is mint though. If it's not, I mean, this is brilliant. You can see his reflection in the mirror, the lighting. This is perfect for black and white. Yeah, there's that shot that's in there. But yeah, I mean, it's great photography. Definitely great photography. Just trying to find a way to have that, have a more cohesive collection. I know this artist very well, actually. Cool. All right, so yeah, with that, so we'll go back to his collection. I mean, I think the pricing is right, 0.30. To get other collection if he has had any sales in those. There was a sale on this one. Yeah, this one's great. Giga Chad Pepe. This guy buys a lot of stuff. Such a cool collection he has. So congrats on that. It's a beautiful shot too. Let's be friends. This is this really relates to that human and nature concept, right? That's beautiful. In our region, people live in harmony with nature. Lots of wild horses and bird species live here. I often photograph the relationship between nature and people. And once again, with that, I feel like you can go so much further with your description.
And I also wanted to comment on the name of the other collection. I think it's called like My Photography Arts, the one
It's
that
like,
we're
yeah, I
reviewing.
think it's my black and white or something. Let's go there. Yeah, my photo
My
arts. Yeah,
Photo
yeah,
Arts. So maybe a more descriptive name for the collection as well would be.
absolutely. Yeah, I totally agree on that. It's just too, it's too vague. It's too straightforward and vague, I guess. My photo arts would come up with something. Um, try to think about to yourself what the collection is really about, what it means to you, and then the title should be able to come to mind. That has a bit more, feels a bit more poetic. Yeah, that'd be better. But yeah, but with that, I don't have anything else here. There's only 4 images, so I can move on to the next collection if you're ready.
Yep, I'm good with moving on.
Yeah.
Hey, Mike.
Yeah, unless Ramazan wanted to say something. Hey, it's Jaden.
Yeah.
Hey.
The Wicked Hunt or Stanley, he isn't the next collection, but the one after. But he was wondering if he could go on ahead and go because it's 3 a.m. his time.
Yeah, what's the name of the collection? Wicked Hunt?
Yep.
Yeah, it was okay, cool. We can go next right now, actually. So the Wicked Hunt. The Wicked Hunt, A Journey to Living the Best Life. This is by Stanley Arianto. That's how you say it. So let's take a look at this collection here. I read this before. I liked it. This is a journey to living the best life. As an artist, it's our responsibility to show a different perspective of the world and its infinite beauty. The Wicked Hunt represents my mission to seek out and capture unique moments. It's merely about getting the perfect photo. Oh, it isn't. I'm sorry. It isn't merely about getting the perfect photo. It's about enduring and embracing the quest to uncover the world around us. The photo is a tangible memento of that moment in time. We dream about places we could go, life we could have, and the person we could have become, but often discouraged by fear. Life is fragile and precious. We don't know when our time is up. We have one shot at making this our life that's driven by love and passion and not fear. Take action, even if small, towards our dreams. This collection is the Wicked Hunt to inspire, help others pursue and live their dream life. Each photo represents a lesson learned and turning point in my journey that got me to where I am now. So I like that. I really especially love this sentence here. The life is fragile and precious. We don't know when our time's up. one shot at making our life that's driven by love and passion, not fear. So I think that's a good artist statement. So I'm going to go off of just my initial reaction when I looked at this collection was that, wow, like we have a really good photographer here that can make really beautiful images. At the same time, this seems like, when you go to someone's website and there's a section called portfolio, and it's just sort of a portfolio of all of their best photographs and not necessarily a story, right? So, I mean, this really stands out. This shot right here, this street shot in Istanbul, sitting next to like, it's a great street shot, but sitting next to, like this beautiful bird's eye view um, down on the ocean. You get another bird's eye view ocean next to it. You got some gorgeous landscapes in here. Um, and then you just have some other images that just feel like this feels like a bit lifestyle. This feels like travel. This feels a little experimental. And so, but I love like most of these images, if not all of them. And you have wildlife mixed in here too, another beautiful shot. But you know Arwen, you shoot a lot of like landscape and stuff like this too, right? But do you feel like this has just multiple genres in here? It's kind of hard um, to feel cohesive for me, at least.
Yeah, I agree. That was the main thing I was going to say about it. It is easy to just, want to take our best photos and put them together into a collection, but I do find the collections that sell best really have a cohesive theme. And so, I think if you really think about what is it you want to portray in the collection and really focus on curation, because curation is such a big part of this, and choosing the ones, that are really, pointed towards what you're trying to tell with the collection. Whereas this does, I mean, a lot of them are really great photos. Like, to me, my favorite is Transient Blue. I love that one. Of course, I'm probably going to go more for the landscape ones. I love Transient Blue. My eye keeps going
Wow.
back to it. Um, so I think like these more abstract landscapes, like they would make a great collection in themselves. Transient Blue, Nature's Roots, Turquoise and Pink, even Earth's Lungs, those all would go together great. But maybe curating it a little bit more, to tell, a more succinct story, rather than, I'm on the hunt for these great moments. That is a story, but it's a little bit broad.
Yeah, this shot. Hey,
Hey guys. Sorry. Just wanna kind of explain a little bit, and I get what you mean with the cohesive. I suppose that wasn't what I'm after, but on a hindsight, maybe that was a good idea to make it a little bit more cohesive. But basically, the thinking behind the collection was actually a journey of the photography, right? And there is actually a roadmap from this, from number one to the rest. It's the progression of my photography. So how I started as a hobby, and then it become professional. And towards the end, it was some of my most favorite moments that I managed to capture. So each one of them actually come with some sort of bulletin ebook that shares not only the story behind it, but also the learning that came with it. So there is an unlock, what do we call it? Unlockable content, I think.
unlockable
And
content. Yeah.
that's right. So that comes with a splurge of what is the Wicked Hunt, what was my journey, and also what each piece represent, and how what it actually mean to the journey, and how they can learn from that. So it's like a learning curve. But I suppose, okay, well, the cohesiveness, I I know that when I put this together, it wasn't about the cohesiveness, but more about the journey. So my question would be, is that going to be, a big
Like a
point
hurdle,
where it
hurdle.
will make a big
I
difference?
I would say if you want to leave it like this, then I would advise you put in the description exactly what you told us, because that really does
Mm,
explain why the collection is this way. And so if you really put that in the description, then people would understand more what the collection's about. Right now, reading it, I have trouble understanding what it's about and correlating all these random photos to like a bigger theme. Does that make sense?
yes, 100%. Thanks for that. Yeah, it's good to kind of hear the, third point perspective. So the other thing as well, with this, it has a flow of story, right? But it's like that's a mouthful to write on Twitter. Even on thread, it becomes really long. Do you have any suggestion or ideas on how I
Spaces,
can?
Twitter Spaces. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, Twitter Spaces would be, um, where you would like really talk about, you know, you can go into complex detail about that because like that's where people are listening. Like that's where the patient people are, right? So,
Mm,
um, you know, because we live in a fast-paced world, like right, especially like right now. So some people might just open up the collection, right? You got to think that you have to think to yourself that majority of people that open a collection might not even touch this tab that see more, right? They might just like go in here and be um, oh wow, there's some really great photos in here, but like, does it feel collectible? Like, like if you think about opening a pack of cards or like collectible like comic books or people collect anything, right? In general, like it usually has a specific like theme that feels collectible. And if that and if your story of what you're saying now is not is not being heard by 95 90%, maybe 80%, I have no idea, of the people who open up your collection and go through this, then that message will fail to get across. And so if you want to stay this route, then you have to work hard on explaining it and getting people on board with the roadmap and how the roadmap works and all of that stuff too. Because if you overcomplicate things a bit, in a sense, then people will just, they'll probably just look and like click out, look into a different collection, and go on to something that's easier for them to understand. So yeah, that's the biggest hurdle, is getting people to understand that even though like all these together don't look cohesive, that the story is supposed to make them what's cohesive. And like there's no black. I mean, there's no black and white, right? There's no black and white answer. It's art. You're the artist. You can do things however you want. So it's just it's my opinion that that a lot of what you said is going to get overseen and clicked out of. And so you have to really explain that, or you have to go the route of putting images together that feel like a cohesive landscape collection, putting images together that feel like a cohesive lifestyle or travel collection or street, etc.
okay. Thank you. Yeah, that
If
that
you
really
are,
helps.
oh, sorry, go
So
ahead.
no, no, I'm just saying thank you. Go ahead, Arwen.
If you are going to go this route and leave it as it is, I know you said that it's a lot to put into a tweet or even a thread. Maybe you could focus on, the first three or the first four in your journey when you're promoting it in your tweets. So you have a little less to write, and it's not quite as long, and go that route. That's just an idea. If you do decide to continue with this large collection like it is.
Okay, thank you. Just one more question, if we have time. I'm wondering, how can I get the claim page? So I did an edition, and I'm not sure how to get a link to the clan page on Manifold. Are you guys able to help me with that by any chance?
Have you done an edition on Manifold, Arwen? I haven't done an edition there yet.
I haven't done a claim page on Manifold. I did put one of one in the Manifold gallery, and I was able to get the link, but I can't remember exactly how.
Maybe if there's someone in here that has an open edition or an edition that's done on Manifold right now, it's a very popular thing. So
I think Anne does. Do you have that, Anne?
Yeah, I did an edition on Manifold. What was the question?
Did you do it in ERC 721 or the other one? Was it
No, I did mine in 1155.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. Because so the problem that I have is like once I go to the gallery, I click the the edition because I put it as an ERC 721 so that there is a number to it. Um it come up with a whole bunch of it, right? So then, if that one, so for example, if I use the link for number one and number one is sold, then I need to put a new link, presumably.
Manifold has a
Right.
Discord where they can help to answer questions. I would
Okay.
advise going on there and asking.
That is
I
a
think
great
if you go to
idea.
their Twitter, they have a link to the Discord.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, guys. Yeah. All right, cool. Appreciate it. Thank you very much for your help. It really helped me to um, basically move forward. Yeah, and appreciate for putting me, on the list next. Thank you very much for doing that.
yeah, no problem. I mean, wonderful photography. Photography is really beautiful. One other thing I would suggest is adding in properties to your work on here that hasn't been sold. So like the most important ones, your artist name, your edition size, and like a license, because the properties are like the new metadata for art on the blockchain. So I'd go in and do that, and wish you best of luck. Look forward to retweeting your work. It's really really beautiful.
Thank you, Mike. Yes, I will. I will go through that. I'm actually thinking to leave this in the back burner and just leave it as is, and do another collection that's more cohesive, and go back to this when I have a little bit more success in it, because then it become more valuable as the genesis, right? What's your thought on that?
Yeah, I mean, my thought on I saw Ovek said recently that anyone who's thinking about deleting a collection that's been on the blockchain for a long time should reconsider that, because um, the fact that it's been on here for 1 year holds some sort of value on its own, because it shows that you've believed in the it shows that you believed in Web3 and NFT for from the beginning, in a sense. So it sort of adds some value to it. So I mean, I wouldn't go ahead and like leave and abandon the collection, but I would I mean, what has sold on here? Let's see. You've
It's
sold Striking Perth City, and you
Yep,
sold
three.
We're Not Alone,
Yeah, and
and
18 is a giveaway because that was the first
Golden
artist
Morning.
to purchase it. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and so that's a tough situation, right? Because you sold like a landscape, and then you sold like a night cityscape, and then you sold
Mhm.
sort of like an experimental astrophotography shot. So they're almost all like in different genres.
Mhm.
So it would be hard to take those three and then make the rest cohesive with it. So I guess maybe continue to tell your story. You also numbered them too, which is something that we used to do, all of us. So that makes it difficult too, because if like let's say you narrowed it down, you still sold number 18, so it's still going to be called number 18. So yeah, I mean, I would, I'd still keep the collection. Maybe you know maybe you can remove split second, which is the street shot, and number one and number two, which is Lost City and that, and then replace those with a more landscape or cityscape night type image. And I
That's
think
a
because
good
I think
idea.
those two stand out more than anything else to me.
Yeah, because the rest kind of fit on the travel, and those two kind of really, really.
Yes, they do. Yeah, I
Yeah,
think that's my best advice for you. So, wish
yeah,
you the
that's
best.
that's a great idea. I appreciate that.
No problem.
Um, yeah, because like when I did this, I didn't actually like. I mean, it's I take a lot of the blame as well because I was pretty busy working on a project for my backpack, building this travel photography backpack. So I didn't actually promote it as much. Um, I suppose Arwin, you kind of mentioned about like promote it more. How do you do that without getting like burning out the audience? Because after a while, like if you just promoting the same thing over and over again, talking about the same thing over and over again, people kind of get sick of it, right? Do you
I
have
don't
any
think you're going to
suggestion?
burn out the audience. And my reasoning for that is that most people don't see all your tweets. You might
Mm,
have some ardent photographer fans who retweet all your tweets, but they're not really your audience. I mean, they might buy one or two of your one of ones, but you're really, looking for collectors and they're not going to see all of your tweets. So, take a look at
mm,
some people who are making big sales. Like I always advise looking at Christopher Shin. He tweets his stuff 3 times a day, and nobody gets burnt out. So
mm.
I really think that we see all of our tweets. So we think that people are going to get burnt out. But other people don't see all of our tweets. So if you tweet it twice a day for a week, maybe someone will see one of those.
That is a great perspective. Thank you very much. That's a game changer. Thank you. Thanks, Mike. Thanks, Arwin, and thanks, MetaJungle. Yeah, I think I'm gonna head to bed. It's
Yeah.
10 past 3 here.
It's awesome
So
having you here. It was awesome having you here, and thanks for coming up and sharing with us and speaking and having your work critiqued. It's definitely not easy. I agree with Armin on the last part too. I don't think it's going to burn out some of the people selling the most stuff in the space. Talk about it a lot. My legacy collection, I would have burned people out a lot by now. So it's been talking about it for probably 5 or 6 months. But the more you talk about it, the more people are is going to have that name in their head too. So there is a good side to it. So it's all about intention and how you do it. So maybe taking a piece, one of your favorite pieces in here, and talking about what it means to you and what it was like and what part of the journey that was, or making a pinned tweet that has each piece and your journey from each piece could be something really interesting since it has a storyline, right?
yeah, that's a good idea. All
Cool,
right.
man. Get some sleep.
Yes. Thanks, guys. I appreciate you guys so much and the perspective that you've given us. I'll catch you guys later.
All right, bye bye.
Hey Mike, we got another one that's pretty late. Vivix.
Sure. Yeah, Vivix. Let's take Vivix and Vivix up to the front.
Awesome, thank you.
You got it. All right, cool. So we have Vivix. Vivix is Hunter in the Air, and it's an edition. Um, I own work by Vivek. I love his wildlife stuff. I mean, um, this is a gorgeous photograph. It's a great idea to make an edition. I think most people can probably really relate to seeing relate to this in some way. I mean, hummingbirds are really beautiful. It's super hard to capture a hummingbird, especially in this composition, this color contrast. It's gorgeous. So it looks like there's only 7 of them. It's a very small edition size, which is really nice. It provides for you to be able to get a quick sellout, makes it more scarce. I think Vivek is you doing everything right. I'm following your journey. I think you don't release too much. When you release it, you do it with scarcity. Looks like 2 people own already. Steve Bennett, I love Steve. Senrock, I've seen him. Cool. And so there's 5 left. So it says, I love capturing birds in action. This is one of my dream shots. Spider hunter hovering underneath a flower. Beautiful moment captured, which filled my mind with a lot of happiness. Edition 7 out of 7. I never seen an edition of 7. That's cool. I hope I'm right that this is definitely a hummingbird, right? Yeah. So a spider hunter. Yeah. Beautiful shot. I mean, you have anything to say on this this edition, Arwin? Before I look at the questions and stuff. I mean, I don't have any feedback on it really, on anything constructive about it.
No, I don't have anything. I think it's gorgeous. And I think it's priced well, and I really like the name of it. I think everything is done really well.
Yeah, it's one of those ones where it's you know, it's there's not much constructive feedback. Kind of just you know, it's a good example of how to do things. So let's look at his editions, Vivek's
But one
editions.
thing I would like to say is that I do follow you, Vivek, and I didn't see anything about this edition. So I think it's relatively recent. I mean, your pinned tweet was just 19 hours ago, and I don't know if it's the Twitter algorithm or what, but I find like this is one, it's so gorgeous. Like, why didn't I see this? So that's what I meant about, not being afraid to tweet about it a lot, because people just don't see it. And so I feel like, if you would have tweeted a few more times about this in the first day, maybe I might have seen it.
I mean, he's got a pinned tweet 19 hours ago. I don't know what the first day is on this. 2 sold, 5 available. But yeah, it's just like, I guess it's just like Instagram. I'm not seeing everything that comes up on my feed as well. But I think if it was just dropped 19 hours ago and 2 are already sold and there's only 5 left, it's doing pretty good. That part's doing pretty good. So let's look. God Possessed. You're picking some really good photos for editions, right? People have to want to buy it. And this is one of the ones that I own, or the one that I own. Let's see. So, yeah. We still have a few left on here. So yeah, so you're creating new editions while there's old ones that still need to sell. Let's see how many you have here. So this one's sold out. Yeah, I mean, I think it's fine because your editions are so small that I think they're gonna sell out either way. I think you're doing a pretty good job on it. Let's see. It says, just a question. Is this the best post production? Any other editing would have made this image better? Not that I know of. I mean, the composition's really good and the colors seem very true to life. It doesn't seem oversaturated. Things that are oversaturated, especially in wildlife, kind of turn me off. This seems pretty true to life. I like that. Is the edition priced high? No, definitely not. It's definitely really fair. You have anything on the post production or the edition? You said you like the price, right, Arlen?
Yeah, no, I don't have anything. I love the way it pops against the background. I love the pink flower. I think it's gorgeous. I don't have any comments on that, and it's very reasonably priced.
Yeah, I mean, Vivek, you're pretty quick here, man. It's one image and it's really good, and you're doing it right. So I don't have anything else on this. If you're here, if you have any questions, you can jump in for a question. But outside of that, I think it's really good. Cool. It's got additions, artist name. Everything looks good here. The license in here. License is here. Perfect. Cool. Well, with that, I think we can move on to the next collection, or edition. So we could jump to Stand on the White Sword. And Stand on the White Sword is by Satish N. Let's read the description here. So, Stand on the White Sword. This photograph was taken in Tamil Nadu, in the town of Tuticorin in the southern region of India. One of the hardest jobs at the lowest pay is this one. Due to the significant rain flow during monsoon season, these workers experience more hardships, and in order to safeguard their way of life, they migrate to Western regions. I'm going to jump to a question they had before I even talk about it because I think it relates. This is a question or a statement. By this image, I tried to make an equal balance geometry composition. A request to know whether or not this photo conveyed the theme or not. So if you're going for geometry, and symmetry, balanced, then I would definitely make sure your horizon is straight. That's the first thing I noticed, that the horizon was higher on the left. Probably noticed that too, Arwen. I know as a landscape photographer, you guys are really strict about the horizon stuff.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, if you wanted it to be more symmetrical and stuff, and then I would have, in Lightroom, you can simply, in Lightroom, when you click on crop, you can even press the auto button, and a lot of times that makes the horizon perfectly straight, or you can just turn it with the crop portion till this is straight. I mean, the easiest way to know that the horizon is straight is just to look how much thickness is here, and then how much thickness is here, and there's quite a bit more here. So that was the first thing that stood out to me when I looked at the image. And then when I came into the image, my eyes sort of kept going to these shorts over here because they feel heavily saturated, like a neon pink. I think someone has an open mic. You want to have an open mic?
Yeah. I was gonna say it's the artist, but we can mute him.
Yeah, for now that's fine. Yeah, the other thing to me, my eye kind of went to these shorts here because I felt like they're very neon pink and heavily saturated. So I would have did a local adjustment on lowering down the saturation in the shorts and stuff here. Other than that, I think if the horizon was straightened out, and my eye didn't jump to here in some of these colors, that it's an interesting image of people working to get this, I feel I guess to get the water out of from here, drainage. It's a pretty unique shot of workers. I just think that could have definitely did some stuff in post processing that would have been easier. 27 editions is kind of a lot. I'd say I think it's a lot of additions, especially for the current market sentiment. I don't exactly know, what your engagement looks like. Maybe if I go to Taste of Life, you have a Twitter link. So yeah, with the following, that's kind of low of 672, and you don't have it listed as your pinned tweet or anything like that, that it would be hard to sell 27 of them unless beforehand you reached out to a bunch of potential collectors or artists that wanted to collect and knew that you would have a certain amount sold in pre-sale. So that's just kind of my first initial thoughts. The price is really cheap though. Arwen, do you have anything?
Yeah, I have a few comments on the photo itself. To me, it does feel a little bit busy, and you said that you really want to emphasize the geometry and the shapes, and so I am agreeing with Mike that maybe if you desaturate some of the colors, like the shorts and things, that might draw attention more to, make it feel a little bit less busy. And then the other thing is, something I've really been paying attention to lately are these small little things that distract the eye. So like there's, I don't know if it's a dust spot or maybe it's a piece of dirt in the middle of this channel. Personally, I would remove that. And maybe also this white circle in the right hand, all these little dots. I mean, I know in street photography, people don't like to change the image that much, but I feel like this is more, tending towards a landscape image with people in it. And I just think that cleaning up those little things would really help to focus the attention more on the subject matter rather than these little things that are kind of drawing my eye. So those are the two main things I would change. I also, to me, the sun is a little distracting because it's overexposed. But I mean, there's probably nothing you can do about that at this point. I don't know if this was shot on a phone or on a camera. If it was on a camera in the future, you might, bracket for the sun so that you can get that a little more. I mean, obviously you can't combine images of the people because they're moving, but you could combine the sky with bracketed exposures and put that in. And it might be a little less busy in that respect as well. But those are just on the image, my comments. And of course, it's all subjective, but that's what I would do.
Yeah, it makes sense. It's fun. It's interesting, like that. Just removing this little piece in the channel here, this little white dot here. People will think like, oh, this little white piece here, like oh, that wouldn't do that much. But if you actually do it, like sometimes these little things can just like do so much for an image. Like sometimes just the littlest thing can clean a lot up. Like cleaning those pieces up and straightening this horizon could do a lot for this image. Outside of that, I mean, if I was there myself, like as a street photographer / documentary photographer, I wonder to myself that like, is this the best moment of the four people? Because I see a really good moment here, with these two on the right. Like, it looks like she or he is going in to drain out some more water, and then this is the most beautiful part of the image here. I believe that this man or woman has I think it's snow in a basket on top of the head, and the way it's being held, where you could see both arms, you could see the legs, there's a reflection. There's a really nice moment happening here, and also here, and these two together are a nice moment. Now, I wonder if you waited long enough and you shot and shot and shot. Let's say you stayed here for 30 minutes and shot this scene. You probably could have something more interesting than just this guy just standing here not doing anything. That things will unfold, right? Like you saw the scene with the leading line, but the leading line doesn't really lead into any subject. But maybe it would had you waited and a subject went into this little canal here to grab something, and the other subjects were doing something. So to me, um, patience could possibly have paid off with this. I don't know how life is going to play out here, but in a lot of situations with me, I find a scene now, and I'm a lot more patient than I used to be, and I wait and I wait and wait and wait until sort of the photo comes to me. So yeah, that would be my feedback on that.
Right. Yeah, and I agree with that. If someone had been standing or doing something right where those leading lines are, the sun also wouldn't be distracting because it would be drawing your eye to that person or that subject if they were right there near the sun. So I think that would be absolutely stunning.
Yes, I think that's where it being busy comes in for you, and for me as well. Is like because it felt busy for me before, but I didn't know in what way, and it was actually in the way of there being like all these different colors happening, and then also the sun, but then leading lines that don't actually lead into your subject. And so, I would love to see the film strip of this. Like, I know it's digital, I'm sure, but like say in a sense, like I'd love to see like Lightroom strip on all of the images that you took here. Sometimes I pick the image by accident. That's not probably the best scene, and sometimes you have other eyes on it, and you can pull a scene out that might have been an even stronger one. So let's look at the other questions. So a question to know whether the photograph can convey the theme or not. If not, it conveys the theme. Yeah, that they're working to you wrote about it's one of the hardest jobs, the lowest pay. It conveys it on the right side to me, but not the left. Like this guy, like I said, this guy's just standing there, doesn't lend to that hardest working sort of thing. It's just there's a moment there where I would love to see them all working on something, and for it to really come together to convey that story. If not, how can I get this improved? What things I need to improve? I think we already discussed that. Before taking the photograph, what are all the things we need to observe in the field, and how we can prepare ourselves for framing the subject without taking the camera? Wow, I didn't even read that question, but I think that's what I just talked about, is that, you saw the scene, you saw the leading lines, you got in the middle here, you found the composition, right? So, you found your canvas. Now, now you're the photographer, where the painter would be the painter. You have to wait for, while a painter can paint in anything they want, as a photographer, we have to wait for life to sort of unravel on the canvas in a way in which we want it to. And so, yeah, for me, more patience in observing what they're doing, thinking about what you want to capture and convey from this image. So that's what I have on that. Do you have anything else, Arwen, based off of this image?
No, I don't. I think you covered it really well.
Okay, great. Yeah, I would definitely put your edition size in the properties. You get your artist name. Also the license is a really strong one to put in there as well, inside of the properties. With that said, if the artist doesn't have anything, if they're here, if they don't have anything, then I think we can move on to the next.
Hello, Mike. Sorry,
Hey,
disturbing now. Shall I say something?
yeah, for sure, of course. You're always
Yeah,
everyone's always welcome to speak.
yeah. Hi, Mike. And Jaren, thank you so much for the feedback. I truly, absolutely accept your feedback. It's truly, absolutely helpful for me. I'm taking pictures from past 1 year and NFT learner. Just few months back only I started into NFT. Since your feedbacks are absolutely helpful for me, I'll take it up for further move. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot.
What do you think of the feedback that um, that helps you the most here? Is it the straightening of the image? Is it the patience in waiting for that scene to happen? What did you take most from the feedback? Just wondering.
Yeah, I found that I absolutely agreed. Image is oversaturated. The left, the lady who stand there, the red color oversaturated, and some of the distractions not removed in the central of the leading lines. Yes, of course. I just now I noticed that. I I sorry that, and this image need to be straightened more. Yeah, I seen that. It's absolutely yes. I agreed.
Perfect. Thanks for coming up, and thanks for having the courage to put your artwork out there for other people to talk about it, and being able to take feedback and grow from it. That's awesome. Thanks for being here.
Thanks, Mike. Very good. Thank you so much.
Of course. I'm just going to give him a little retweet here, and we can jump to the next collection. what was next? Let's see. White Dream by Mustafa. And it wasn't meant for all of these for all of these edition pieces to be back to back, but it just sort of happened that way since we pulled in some to the front. So White Dream by Mustafa Erbis. So sometimes you can make the clearest decisions when you're on your own. The options in life are lined up in front of you one by one, and you only have to choose one. Don't be afraid. Choose one and live your life. Mine is a white dream. What is yours? So this is an edition 15 of 15. So none have been minted so far. The price is 0.02 ETH. And let me refresh. Let's see, maybe somebody minted one. I don't know. Not yet. I'm gonna jump to Mustafa's Twitter. See if he is promoting this right now, and he is. I'm gonna throw a retweet. So November 17th. So that's just yesterday. So just put it up yesterday. You know, I think it's a beautiful shot. Let me go to it. And in his questions, he says, do you think it would be better if I took the photo at a slightly wider angle? I don't think so. For me, I think any more wider on the angle for this, you could kind of lose the the solitude of the man, who's the subject of this image. This man who's like standing on this sort of this lake that just hasn't frozen over yet. You can kind of feel a story from it, about him just being on his own and possibly at a crossroads to make some type of decision, like it's in the edition. I mean, you shoot a lot of wide angle stuff. And you think this would benefit from a wider angle? I mean, I don't know what's on the sides of this image.
No, actually, I was going to say I would like it cropped even more.
Closer.
Yes. So I don't know if this was with a drone or if he was standing up above, but I kind of feel like these trees in the front are a little bit distracting. And so if there would have been any way to just get a little bit higher, so the trees were separated a little more from the pond and crop it that way.
So like more minimal in a sense.
Really impactful. Yeah.
I mean, this is not the ideal crop, obviously, because that's the only way I could take the trees out of it. But like, if it was higher with the drone, or if it was, if he's on feet, then this is definitely going to be a difficult task. And then in that regard, then this is probably all you can really do, unless there's a greater height or different space to the left or to the right. But then I think that would hurt the composition, because I think the man is placed in such a perfect space. I definitely don't think wider on this. That's something that I definitely don't think you needed to do.
Yeah, I agree. And I agree with everything you just said. If he was standing here and he can't remove these, then I think the crop is perfect. But if it was with a drone and he has one that's a little bit higher, I think it would be very impactful, for what he's trying to convey, to have a crop more similar to what you just showed.
Yeah, it would have more minimalism than it brings you like right to the subject and the scene that's happening. Is really nice, especially in like black and white snow images. I do like that. That being said, I mean, with what it was able to get, I do think it's a pretty strong image, and I think that 15 is pretty good. 10 to 15 right now is like where I would stick with my additions. So I think you're in that range. 0.02 is very cheap, so it is very affordable. Stuff is a really good community member, so I'm sure get a bunch of people's eyes on it. It's a slow time right now, but I think it's well played on the edition size. Did you find the photo and the story compatible with each other? Yeah, I definitely do. You know, it's an image about solitude. The story you're writing is about making a decision on your own. Um, you know, sometimes you have multiple options for decisions, and it's hard, and you can only choose one. That definitely makes sense. The story. Mustafa, is Mustafa here? Does he want to come up?
Yeah, I just wanted to say I really like the photo, and I think black and white like this is perfect for it. You know, I love the way this dark pond contrasts with all the white. Yeah, I think it's really great.
I don't think there's any other questions. Is Mustafa unmuted? Does he want to talk? If not, yeah, if not, I think we move on to the next collection. These ones that are just one image, they're a little quicker than the rest. So, Unseen Macro World is the next one. And this is by Arijit Mandal. So collection of, it says collection of 10, one of one, but then up here it says items 11. So let's find out here. Collection of 10, one of one, macro photography NFTs. The ecology of the micro world is always hidden from us. The collection portrays the dynamism, the colors, the ecology of this world that is all around us, but we can't see. They have the predators, the prey, the scavengers, the parasites, like our world. This is an ecology under the leaf, in the bushes. They are the hidden gems obscure from our eyes. And then about photographer, nature lover, a virtual conservationalist, photography mentor and coach, entrepreneur, published by Smithsonian, WWF, Sanctuary Asia, etc., with multiple awards and such. So there's 3 owners here outside of him owning these. And, you know, my first impression is just like, wow. I mean, I'm wowed a lot by like the macro photographers that are like currently in the space. I think there's just like so many really, really good ones. And some of these, this one stands out to me. I don't know why I always want to click on this one, this Killer in the Sun. I think the spider mimics the plant. It's in such a cool way with the legs and the shape. And I love how like it's the spider's translucent, and so the sun just like comes right through him. He's like backlit, just like the he or she's backlit, just like the plant. A really really beautiful shot. These are really cheap though. Like for one of ones, 0.05 is normally what people are like doing editions of 15 or 10 at. So the price is a little low, I think. I know the market is like, I know the market is tough, but at the same time, like this is your art. These photographs are not easy to make, and they're really well done. Like, look at this shot. This is awesome. To own a one of one of this for 0.05, I think it's like too fair. That's just me. Let me take a look at the question. Can you feel a relation or a signature style in all the photographs? I do. I feel a signature style in these for sure. Definitely with like your color gradings, lots of greens. And you're asking about story. Like, you know, for being macro photography, like I think normally there's not much of a story, but I think on a lot of your images there are a story because there's in a lot of them there's 2 insects, whether it's one eating another, you know, them mating, or you know, just even this Killer in the Sun shot, like it's just like I don't know, it has a story of the spider and the space in which he occupies and lives, and a geometry and all of this that goes along with like how he looks and how the nature and the plant looks, that I do think there is. Arwen, your like first initial like thoughts of like looking at the collection, the pricing, you know, is it cohesive? Like, how do you feel about that?
I agree with everything you said, and I don't really have a lot to add on this one. I'm pretty wowed by, macro all the time because it's something I've never really done. And I love the ones that have more than one in it, like really telling that story. Yeah, I don't really have anything to add on this one.
Yeah, let me see how the descriptions and stuff are. Like properties, first thing I noticed, the addition's not in there. The this name, if you could benefit from putting that stuff in there, the license. Everyone's putting it in the description, but the properties carry over maybe to other platforms. It's like metadata more than a description is. I think it's best practice to have it in both. Cool Alpha Trilogy owns this one. It's a great one.
I really love that one. I need to step away from my computer for a minute. I'll be right back.
Yeah, it's fine. No problem. Open to come on. See from here then. It's just beautiful colors, detail, just wow. Let me see. Should I make any changes in this existing collection? I mean, no, I don't think there's any weak images here at all. I think they're all really stunning. I think they're all really good images. Look at your Twitter. I mean, on your Twitter, you're promoting something else right now. So, in a market where it's kind of tough to move multiple editions or projects and such at the same time. So I wonder where your macro stuff is. Let's see. Secondary sales object. This is some of the macro stuff on object. Yeah, I mean, if you want the stuff to be moving, you definitely gotta talk about it more here. You're not talking about it much on your Twitter. Outside of that, I love the work. I don't really have anything, I don't have anything to add here. You got your royalties going. I would talk about your work in spaces. I would pick some of your favorite ones from here, and I'd write a story about them on Twitter. Maybe make a thread. Like posting one of these and saying, hey, where's my macro photographers at? Let's share. Let's have fun. Let's share together. Create community. Create community within your own community on Twitter. And just yeah, these will once the market picks up, I see these. I mean, obviously, if this price 0.05, I see these that definitely would sell out. I would be selling them for more money than this. With that, I don't have anything else on this this specific collection. I have to step away for 1 minute as well, and I will be right back. So since Arvin's gone, that's good, and then we'll move on to the next collection.
I'm actually back. So I'll take a look at these questions and see if I have any input on them while you're away. I have to figure out where the questions are.
I think Mike put them in the AMA live chat, if that helps.
Okay. All right. Yeah, here they are. So this is the macro one. Unseen World. So can you feel a relation style signature in all the photographs? Yes, I definitely feel that. This is a really cohesive collection that goes really well together. And what is important in macro, extreme close-ups or the stories? I think it's really up to the artist. I have seen extreme close-ups, and those are so cool. Sometimes you can't even tell what they are. They're just kind of abstract, and they look so amazing. But I also love what you have here with the whole insect. So I think it's really what the artist decides. And it's just playing up on your strengths and, doing what you like to do when you're doing the macro. And should you make any changes? I don't think you need to make any changes. As far as selling them, I would recommend what I recommended to Anne, and that is to look at other macro photographers in the space and, see who they've sold to and try and develop relationships with those collectors or people who have collected theirs. Because the more I'm in the space, the more I understand how important relationships are. And people do tend to collect the same kind of art. Some are more eclectic, but some people tend to like certain things. And so kind of getting an idea of who your target audience is, I think is really, really helpful. And so like one macro photographer who I know has had a lot of success is Matt Duke. So that's someone you could, look up and kind of see, what he's doing and who he's sold to.
Yeah, it's really good advice. I think that's great advice for everyone. Just like follow, other artists that are doing the same thing as you, and like who they're being collected by, and then build that community based around that. And sort of try to build relationships with those collectors. I think a lot of people just aren't doing that. I think it's really, really important. That being said, though, I think we can move on to the next collection. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 5 left still, actually. So the next collection, it's a single image. This is Omega Hills, and this is by Omid. And let's see these questions first. Do you like Galaxy Hills? I don't know what a Galaxy Hill is, but I definitely like astrophotography and definitely like what I'm looking at. What about the stars? Each of them has a story? Question mark. I think so. I think every star probably has a story. So Mega Hills, um, it is a globular star cluster, which is located in the Centaurus constellation, and was discovered by Edmund Halley in 1677. Of course, it is recorded as a star in how do you say this? Ptolemy's star map. Although it is not a star and is a star cluster, its name is registered based on the Bayer Omega Centauri star catalog. In the Milky Way, it is the largest and brightest globular star cluster, and in the local group, it is only brighter and heavier than Myal 2 in the Andromeda galaxy. Urius is completely different from the globular star clusters of the Milky Way and is thought to have a different origin. Very cool. I feel like I just had like a history and science lesson on that. And I don't know a lot of this stuff about stars, which I should, because I'm really interested in outer space and all this stuff. I noticed when you click on the image, is there sound? Is it audio? Yeah, there's an audio. You're not gonna be able to hear it. I have my headphones on, but it's like very. Um,
The stars
sorry.
are twinkling.
I know. I'm listening to the audio, and it's just like it's just a very like how do you say, sort of ominous instrumental. That it's very fitting for it. It's really beautiful. And yeah, this is amazing. I really I really love this. I love looking at anything that has to do with space. But the way you captured this with these colors, the oranges against the blues, how many stars are actually in the images, burnt oranges in the center. It looks like a bat almost. It looks like the wings of a bat, and then like it almost looks like the Batman symbol. It's a really wild, and I love how you made it move, and you've added this this sound to it. I know how difficult it is to well, I don't really know, but I just know from hearing about astrophotographers like how difficult it is to capture this stuff, the type of equipment you have to use, the trial and error that you have to go through going out and traveling these cold spaces, and you know, weather is not on your side a lot of times, and so to capture something that's beautiful, I think is really, really awesome. And he doesn't have any particular questions, Omid, but yeah, Norman, you a fan of Astro?
Yeah, I love these deep space astro photographs. I've never done any myself, so I can't comment on it technically. But is this part of a collection? Did he want us to look at the whole collection?
There's nothing. I looked at it. It says explore, but it's just, you know, Foundation makes you make a collection, even if it's for one piece.
Right. Okay, I see. So it's a one of one. That's in a collection, so maybe he's going to add more as time goes on. I would recommend you know, maybe fleshing out the properties so that it's clear that it's a one of one. Right now it only has the artists, and even if not in the properties, then in the description, you know, put edition size one of one, and maybe also the what is it called, the
license
in it as well. So there's a few things I think missing from the description, but I mean the artwork itself, I have no, I'm speechless. I guess I should say.
Yeah, it's really, really great. Let me see what. Proud to present the launch of channel for my first official project. A lot of hard work learning, communicating. This looks really cool, this video. Oh wow, this is one hell of a like an introduction video. It's got sound, it looks beautiful. It's like a trailer for a movie. But you know, you didn't link the word, you didn't link where it is. There's no link to the actual shot. And it says it's about Explore, which is this collection. And is there information about whether or not this collection is going to have more than one piece? I don't know, because there's not much in here. So I would definitely be a little more descriptive about what your plan is. You know, like your roadmap or whatever that is. You know, your edition sizes and such. But
yeah, you could always add a subtweet to that pin tweet with the link and maybe a little more information.
So how do you do that? You press like quote tweet and then you quote tweet yourself?
Just, if you do the comment, it'll
like
it won't say for you, but for him it would say add another tweet. And that's, he could put the link right there.
So when you add another tweet like that, does your tweet always goes to the top? It's done, right?
I think so. If you do it like that and it says add another one, it's kind of as if you had done a thread.
That's awesome, because I'm always worried about doing that. I'm like, I don't want it to show up as a comment. It's like way down below. Like, I want it to show up underneath what I said. So, okay, that's cool. Yeah, I would do that now. I would add that tweet with the photograph and the link to it, because you got a lot of like, you got 53 retweets on here, 85 likes, 21 comments, but like one of those could have transferred into a buy, and it didn't translate into a buy because there's no link, you know? There's no link. So like everybody saw your trailer like, this is amazing, but then they probably got caught up in their own life, and they don't know where to find it now. I mean, you have your foundation on here. definitely it's an extra step, right? So just provide that link. Outside of that, I don't have anything else on this. I think it's awesome.
Yeah, so you don't do it just like a comment. I take it back. I just open Twitter. When the owner of that tweet opens it, there'll actually be an option there, add another tweet. And you want to click on that, and then it'll create it as if it's a thread.
Okay. So in mine, for instance, like
In your
one
pinned, like
this
click on
tweet.
it, open it.
See, tweet says tweet your reply here.
No. Go down. Yours is a thread, right? So you have to go to the bottom.
Oh, add another tweet right
Yeah.
here. Oh, okay. So
But
yeah,
on
because
this, since it's not a thread, that would be at the top under the first one.
yeah.
Tweet.
So add another tweet always adds to it like it's a book. Add another tweet always adds to it like it's a journal entry, and it doesn't get lost in the mix. It's part of the original post.
Right.
Perfect. Awesome. Cool. We have 4 collections left. This collection I'm really excited to talk about. This is called Orange is the New Green by Niels Teshalar. That's how you say it. Wow. I mean, Orange is the New Green is a collection of 5 one-of-one images. It's an ode to autumn, the time that green turns into orange and other warmer shades, the time the air becomes cooler and nature becomes more colorful, the time that leaves will fall to prepare for what is coming. A time to be close to each other, a wonderful and cozy time. The photos are taken in 3 different countries, Japan, Thailand, and the Netherlands in different years. At the moment of writing, these shots belong to my personal favorite shots. So there's 5 images. This one, number 2, which is I guess it would probably be my first pick too. I'm not sure though. There's some really great ones here. This is owned by NorCal guy. That's a really, really serious collector in the space. He collects mostly, I'd probably say, I don't know, he probably collects like 80 to 90% of just like landscape work. This shot is like truly stunning. The shutter speed, I don't think could be any more perfect. How these waterfalls, or how this like I don't know. You could probably talk better about this than me, Harwin. You do like longer exposure stuff like this, like whatever shutter speed this is, like how these blankets of water are coming down are just like brilliant.
Yeah, I really love the collection. I love the title. I think it's really creative, and the collection is gorgeous. My favorite is Autumn in Japan. But I agree with you about the way he photographed the waterfall. That's amazing. But I always love these like low angle, like, near far compositions. Really love this one. Yeah, I think I actually don't really have any feedback. I think it's really great.
What do you think this is shot at? Is this shot at like f/22? Like because or is it f/16? Like because you don't really get the full detail in the ones in the front, right? I notice I've been shooting at a lot like higher f-stops lately. Shooting street, I've been shooting at like f/16 and stuff with a 35 mil. But even at f/16, sometimes like stuff that's really close isn't in focus. So
Right. Well,
yeah,
I mean, I'm sure it's shot at a higher aperture, smaller opening for more depth of field. But it looks like he might even be too close. Lenses have a minimum focal distance. And
yes.
sometimes you want to get closer to your subject than that distance, and then you're always going to have the front be a little soft. But in this case, I think it really lends itself to the image, because the leaves in the front aren't the focal point, right? So with them a little soft, it draws your eye more to what he actually wants you to focus on. So I think that was done really well.
Yeah, absolutely. I was just asking the technical question that I'm trying to, because I'm shooting. I don't normally shoot at f16, and lately I have been, and sometimes I don't get the full detail through my image, and maybe it has something to do with the minimal focal distance, or maybe it just,
Right. It's
you know,
either that or you need to focus stack, because even if you're at, like, let's say f22 and if you're so close to whatever's in the foreground, even if you set it at the hyperfocal distance, which is going to get the most in focus of anything, you still won't get that very foreground in focus. So in that case, if you wanted it all in focus, you would need to focus stack. But if your composition makes you so close to that thing in the foreground that it's within the, minimal focus distance, then you're not going to be able to get it in focus no matter what you do.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I could focus stack if I'm shooting street and there's like 5 people in the image either, because like then they would be in the different positions. Yeah.
So that's why, I mean, a lot of times in street you will have the foreground out of focus, which makes sense because it's not really your subject and it's just kind of helping to draw your eye in.
So now if you look at this image here that has a subject, the lighting is incredible and it has a beautiful subject. I love this shot, but I don't know if I like it more than the next one that doesn't even really have a subject. And I think people always stress about like subjects in an image, and this doesn't have one, and I don't feel like I need one. And I don't know how to explain that, but like
the light in this is just fantastic, and it's even like that portal at the end of it is the subject because it's just glowing and really drawing your eye into it. And the framing and the light on the trees and the shadows is just complementing it. So I think that's why it doesn't really need a subject, because it kind of,
it's about emptiness. It's about emptiness, right?
Yeah.
It's about that, like, it's about like infinite, like things being infinite, or like you said, it looks like there's a portal at the end, or like just it's just me and this, and I don't even need a subject. I think this might be my favorite. I don't know. It's hard to pick. That's how you know a collection is really successful, is like when it's hard to pick a favorite. Like look at this. Like this is sort of like your Japan one, but this one is probably the one that's in the Netherlands, right? And so this has that leading lines out into this home. Like, man, it makes me want to shoot landscape. Like looking at it like this. It's so brilliantly composed, and the lighting is so beautiful. And how does the trees look like that? How do the lines in the trees, like, is this post? Like, why does it look so painterly? How do you get this effect, Alwyn?
I don't know. We'd have to ask the photographer. Is he here?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if he uses the Orton effect, or like it actually looks like maybe a little bit of intentional camera movement on some of these trees. But I'd have to ask the photographer exactly what he did.
I don't know, but this stuff's really, really, really good. Yeah. What are the questions? If you look at the collection as a whole, do you have any advice that could have been done better in your opinion? No. If you would pick 2 favorites from the collection, what would it be? All right, I'll try. My 2 favorites. What's that? I would pick. I would pick.
So maybe he wanted to comment on how he made the trees look like that.
Oh, okay. Niels, is that how you say it? Are you coming in unaudible for me? Very, very hard to hear.
I wonder, are you on an iPhone? Sometimes when I'm on Discord, this happens to me on my iPhone, and I can't it goes into the phone instead of being on speaker. So I don't know, maybe if you hold the phone up to your ear and your mouth, if you're on the phone, we might be able to hear you better. No, still not working.
I'm still not able to, but we do have a chat box. If audio is not going to work, you can click on feedback AMA here, and then this little open chat box. You can talk inside of here. Looks like Anne responded saying, like Luminar Glow or Orton, but applied to only parts of the photo.
Yeah, okay. Well, I think we were going to answer the questions about the two favorites.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna try. Okay, fine. I will try. I will say I think that my favorite is orange. Orange is the new green, the second one, and also Into the Light. And I think I know Arwen has one, and I don't know what her other one is. What were yours, Arwen?
Yeah, mine is the Autumn in Japan and Into the Light. I just love the light and Into the Light. Orange is the New Green is a close third.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No. Yeah. I know. That's. Yep. So yeah, those were pretty. I mean, they were all really great, though, right? So it's just something that keeps bringing me back to Into the Light, and I think that would be the one that I'd have to go for. Considering Orange is the New Green is taken, and I might even like it better than that. I don't know. It's too hard. The waterfalls are just too perfect on Orange is the New Green. But yeah, amazing work. Beautiful collection. I don't think anything else could be done differently. I like that it's on Sloika. I like the price. I think your work is worth half of an ETH. I think your work is worth more than that. I think it's a smart price right now within a collection, though. Um, you know, yeah, I don't questions here. Having advice in general when you look at the style of photography in this collection? No, I mean, I'm not a landscape photographer, and I think it looks like really cohesive, and it makes me want to go out and shoot landscapes. So probably best compliment you're going to get from me, since I don't really shoot much landscape. Marvin?
Yeah, I don't really have any either, even though I shoot landscape. This is kind of completely a different style than, my style, and I absolutely love it. So I don't really have any comment, except the only thing maybe I would say is that Believe in Magic and You Will Find It stands out as a little bit different to me than the rest of them. Maybe it's the blue cast or the darkness of it. So that's just the only, constructive comment I can make on the collection.
Yeah, I mean, even with that, I think it even still fits. But yeah, it is the one that stands on its own a little different than the rest. But yeah, it's really beautiful. I'm gonna send it to some of the collectors I know today and see people that I know that are interested in this type of stuff and see if they're interested in collecting something. So yeah, really great job. I don't have anything else on this. I would just be complimenting it. So with that, yeah, I'd love to move on to the next collection, which is the water people one, and this is by Mac Noel Demi, and his questions. He just says honest criticism, right? And he originally only linked this one photo in between, but I found it in a collection, so I figured let's talk about the collection. First of all, the image that he did link is the only one that's for sale. Before I talk about the actual work itself, I want to talk about some things that confuse me about this collection. Okay? In between is the only one that's for sale. It's for 0.2. I would think that that was an addition. It's not. It says there's 5 items. So there's 5, which means it's an addition. I thought it would be a 1 of 1. If I go back and I go to the other images, they're not listed, but there's 3 items in this. So you have a collection now that has an addition of 5, addition of 3, addition of 3, and addition of 3. I don't know if this is a mistake or whatnot, but you know, you might need some guidance on this. And I'll say that, like, just from that alone, I would be confused. I'm confused. It would stop me from buying within the collection, unless I could contact you as an artist and find out like what's going on and why. Let me read the description. The water people live on the coastal settlement of the mainland across the 3rd mainland bridge in Nigeria. These people abode on stilts along the lagoon and half balanced on the land. The tribe in this community are largely dominant by the Egan people. This collection depicts some of their daily lifestyle routine. Really interesting, because I haven't seen documentary on this type of work, and the photos are very interesting. There's no indication in here as to like, is this a collection of 1 of 1s? Is this a collection of additions? I'm not sure. So there's a lot of, I don't know what's going on there. You have your royalty set up. This is on the Polygon chain. I'm not sure the reasoning for the Polygon chain. It's definitely harder to sell, I think, on Polygon chain. You don't see it as much on here on OpenSea. As far as activity goes, I don't think there is any activity except for, I didn't have that checked, but I think it's just listed item. Black. Oops. Sorry, OpenSea. Okay. So yeah, outside of that, you know, you definitely want to put your Twitter link in here. I would add your Twitter link, but let's take a look at some of the photographs because it's really interesting what's happening here. So in between is another part that shows daily life routine from the coastal settlement on the mainland across the 3rd mainland bridge in Nigeria. So that's copy and pasted from the original description, but like, look at this village. This is wild. I mean, I don't know how this kid is standing at the front of the boat like this and going through and keeping balance of the boat, but this is it's really, really interesting. I will say that the color tone is a lot different in this image than the other 3. That stood out to me. I like your compositions though, and I like the story and what this is about. This seems a little more to like the yellow temperature, a warmer side. These seem a bit cooler. Let's take a look at some of that image. Canoe Boy. This is really cool. Very interesting composition. Like these, this is very wild. This seeing how they live. It looks polluted. It looks like they're getting through from house to house through these boats. This is just it's another world outside of anything that I'm used to living in the United States or anywhere I've traveled to. I've never seen anything like this before. So I definitely would love to hear more about this. I think it needs more writing. I think, you know, I think the photos are very interesting, but I need writing to really describe like what this village is about, and not just this copy and paste from the description. I need to know from you, you know, what I'm looking at and why this is important for you to document. But yeah, look at this. This, like, the photographer knows what they're doing. Like, this is, they've created a triangular composition here, like where this goes down to like the mother, maybe the little brother, back to this. This is a beautiful composition. All that being said, Arwen, some of that stuff I'm sure you're a bit confused by as well, like the number of editions and stuff, or like I'd love to hear how you feel about the collection, the fact that it's on Polygon, and anything else that you might have to add.
Yeah, I mean, I echo everything you say, and I agree, like the three on the right are less saturated or something. So I think if they were all more consistent in their editing, the collection would go better together. And then also maybe the titles of like Canoe Boy and Canoe Boys could be a little bit more descriptive. Just in my opinion, it might be a little more interesting that way. But yeah, I mean, I have never bought anything on Polygon, so I don't really know much about that.
Yeah, and then as far as like the additions go, is like did that confuse you a bit that there's 5 items on this one at 0.2? That's a high price. Like if the artist is not a known artist, I'm not sure. I'm looking for the Twitter here. I think I actually have the Twitter from my original post.
Right, yeah, I assume they were one of ones. I didn't even notice that there were 5. So that's definitely something that should be explicitly said, that it's a collection of editions.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm just trying to go to the artists. Let's see. I think this is the artist here. Nope, I'm sorry. It's our next collection. It was this one. Yeah, so to, with, let's see, audience, that's some good. For the amount of followers you have, 126, I mean, you have some good engagement, right? Like 15 retweets, 23 likes, 2 comments. With that being said, though, you definitely, I would say that you probably don't have the reach to like even try to be selling that image as an addition of 5 at 0.2. I mean, a better place to start is like to sell it at 0.2 as an addition of 1. And maybe this is just a mistake in working on OpenSea, but definitely wanted to address that because your story is really interesting. I mean, I don't have much of a story from what's written, but from what I could see, like, man, if I had the access that you have to this space, I would love to be in here documenting this and writing about, and meeting these people and talking to them. And I don't know if you live here, and if you do, then you certainly have a much easier time to build a relationship with these people, and to find out their story. And I'd love to see you really go in and document this community, and not just them on boats, but maybe inside the homes, maybe with the parents. I think there's a like truly beautiful story that can be created from this. Is the artist here with us today? I think it's a Nigerian artist. He's not here today, not with us, but there's a replay, so we'll just be able to listen to the recordings. That being said, yeah, that's what I would do. I would I would try to look at some documentary photographers, or some books from people who've done like stories on specific villages and how they went about actually documenting those villages, because in this it's just like these commuters kind of, and we don't know what they're actually doing and what the story is. So a little bit more writing, a little bit more getting up close and personal, and even with the parents and inside the house and stuff would be really great, and fix up some of that stuff and make these one of ones, and probably not additions with a small reach that you have. But with that being said, It just said honest criticism. There's no questions. So I don't have anything else on this, Arwen, unless you do.
No, I don't.
Cool. So awesome. With that, we can go on to the next collection. There's actually 2 collections left. We have the horses of Hermetzi. That's how you say it. And this is by Merrick Akhtar, right? And this is, I think it was like someone told me this was like a 20-minute drive south of where I was in Cappadocia last week. And I just didn't have the time because I was only in Cappadocia for 2 days, and me and my girlfriend had things planned, so I didn't have time to go down and see these wild horse, but really interesting. So Hermetsi grassland, located in Kayseri province of Turkey, is home to hundreds of horses. The horses that were previously used by the villages in agriculture fields, not needed anymore, were left in their Hermetsi grassland. In this grassland that dries up in the summer, when all the horses run, magnificent views emerge with the dust cloud formed at sunset. So I believe that's the best time to take these is summertime during sunset, and you get these really beautiful clouds of smoke and stuff. And there's some we'll do these images here. It's pretty wild to see. This is a really interesting shot. It almost seems monochromatic in a sense that it's not necessarily black and white, but it feels like it's adjusted in a way that that some of the colors are muted. Maybe it's not. I don't know if it's just that the powdered land creates this, but I don't know. You can really get a better composition than this if you're looking at the herds, at least with the with the man on the horseback here who's herding, or this cowboy, and them all running in this direction. It's a pretty epic shot. All these are pretty interesting in their own way. I think I don't remember if it was Sabode or who it was the other day that pointed out that this creates the flag of India. But that's really cool, from the grass to the smoke and to that sunset sky. He asks, what's your favorite piece in the collection? What's your favorite piece in this collection, Arwen?
I actually have 2 favorites. I wish they had names because it's hard for me to tell you which
Well, they
one.
do.
Oh, they do. Okay. I just have to go on to it. Yeah.
Okay, so it's
Towards the Corral
Uh-huh.
and the Black Rider are my 2 favorites. I just love the way they're composed, especially towards the Corral, with the horses in the foreground leading back to the I don't know what he's called.
I think he's a cowboy or something. I think there's a better word for it. But yeah, the composition in this, right? It's insane.
really
And the
love that,
layers.
Yeah, I really love that. Well, that one's probably my favorite. Even though I love the colors, the sunset colors, like I'm always about colors, that one just keeps drawing my eye.
Well, I'm gonna say the same thing. That one's my favorite. Towards the Corral is my favorite one. Also, I think they're all pretty unique and pretty stunning in their own way. This one has more of this dark cowboy sort of vibe. It reminds me of that game Red Dead Redemption. Really, really cool. This has that Indian flag. It's called Indian colors. A horseman and his dog. Really cool. Look at that. Look at the clarity. Like, even with all this dust, look at all the look at the clarity you can see in the dog. The transition from his black snout into his brown fur, everything, and the cowboy. It's all black. It's just these are just this seems fake, like a movie set. But yeah, I love these. See, it says the photos look very similar to each other. Go ahead.
Indian colors, the way you can see the cowboy or whatever they're called in the background on the right is really neat too. Like it's if you go into Indian colors.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he's back
Just
there.
like a shadow of him kind of on the right in the
He-
background, which I find really interesting.
Yeah, like he's going home or he's off to do something different, and the horses they're out there. I think these are wild horses. Actually, I think they're all wild. It's pretty crazy. Yeah. What does he ask? He says, "Do the photos look very similar to each other?" I don't know if that's a way of saying like, is there too many that look similar, or is that a way of saying are these cohesive? I'll just start with, is this cohesive? I think it's very cohesive. Um, any of them that are too similar? I don't know. I'm just looking at this as it's 5. There's probably one that could probably be pulled, like one of these orange ones maybe, and it would probably, I don't know, maybe the horseman is dog, but it's a completely different image, or maybe running into the sunset would be the one that, I don't know. They're
I love that the way that one is so much dust. Like, I don't think any of
yeah
them are too similar.
yeah
Each
no
one has its uniqueness and its strong point. And I kind of like the way that the fact that they're a little bit similar kind of keeps you looking through them to like pick out the parts that are different. Like, I really think it's well curated.
yeah, I think you're 100% correct. I don't think any of these I think that they're all really cohesive, and they all have, even though the colors are similar and the horseman's dog and the black rider is just completely different shots. Every shot is a different shot from the next. So yeah, I don't have any constructive feedback to really give on this. Price is right. You're on Foundation. You know, Eric, he's also like very active in the community. So it's like, does he speak in space as much? I don't know. I don't know why you don't have your Twitter linked on here though. I mean, you have like your Instagram and your website and Discord. We definitely should have Twitter. Um, yeah. So, yeah. Being said, I mean, this collection's awesome. I think when things pick up and you tell the story more about it, somebody's going to see this. And somebody's going to pick some of these up for sure. I just think it's just time. That's it at this point. But I don't have anything else on this. This thing's really great. I've seen this collection a few times. Merrick's really talented. I'm ready to move on to the last collection though.
Yep, let's do it.
Cool. Okay. So the last collection here is my black and white world, and this is by Metin Burek Kinasalar. And so let's just look at the questions first. How do you think it's seen? What are the price points to criticize? That's basic stuff. All right. Let me read the artist statement here. So I have many stories I want to tell, sometimes sad, sometimes joyful, but always human or oriented. Every pixel that filters through the light and touches my sensor is a treasure for me. Each of my photographs has a different story, a different life story. For 16 years, my every touch has always left me a new life story and memory. I've accumulated these beauties in my piggy bank. Welcome to my series of stories I want to tell. I hope you will like it. Every photo is taken by me. Each photo will have its own story and technical details. I mean, a little repetitive on saying about this story over and over. I think you have to say that over and over. That I have accumulated these in my piggy bank. I think this is a better way to say that. You have your license there, and it says one of one. It's the only copy. I wouldn't even call it a copy then. It's not a copy. One of one is the only one in existence. It's one of one. It's the only original. There's only in one original. That's it. It's not a copy. It says it's up here, 2 colors that reflect the soul. I guess he's talking about black and white. So let's take a look. Images here. So,
Oh, if
you know,
I
my
could
go ahead.
comment
Yeah,
firstly
yeah.
on the collection, I think that a different name might be better because this is kind of like the other one that we had earlier. My black and white world is so generic, just saying that they're black and white. if he could find some other cohesiveness among them and have a more descriptive title of the collection, I think that would be a lot better.
Absolutely, and I think we're going to be able to get to that by like looking at the collection, because first thing I notice when I look at the collection is, okay, wow, really good photography. Second thing I notice, great tonality, like understands like how to use black and white. I think not everyone that uses black and white is using it in a way that really benefits black and white. I think this photographer certainly does. There's a lot of beautiful images here. I'll tell you the ones that stand out to me have to do with like these working people. This shot here with my friend, I think this is such a beautiful shot. Like the kid in this little barrel thing here or whatever this is. This kid's working. So there's a collection here that I see that's like about the working people. There's a couple of different stories that are going on, right? So there's like the working people, which I think I'm most drawn to of any of these. This is really cool. Tinsmith, look at that. And then there's a shot like this out of nowhere. You just have snapshot from the streets, and this is where like people will make their collection like with a name like My Black and White World, because a lot of people try to make a collection cohesive by the fact that it's just black and white. It just sometimes for me it just doesn't, it's not enough to be cohesive, just that it's black and white. So to tell a story, so like snapshot from the streets, well, it's a good shot. I think, I don't think it's good enough that you put it in here with these people that are working, because I think some of these shots of these people working, it's like this felt maker and these are just on another level as far as composition goes, storytelling goes, lighting goes, your tonality goes, that just like blow away that street shot that you added into a collection that isn't really about street to me. I mean, like this is another shot here that's like another street shot that just like doesn't hit the mark for me exactly. I don't really understand the story here. The hello on the shirt is like a little bit it's hard for me to really gauge a story from this, and maybe someone else could, but what I see is a collection of really beautiful, like indoor, like for the most part, indoor shots of people working where there's light coming in and it's highlighting those subjects. Even this outdoor shot is it's a pretty good shot. I think some of the ones that indoors do look better. I think this guy's expression can be better. Compositionally, it's good. But for me, it's really, really about what's happening inside these factories or whatever it is here. This kid's creating yarn, I believe. And then you have a shot. Then you have like a portrait out of nowhere in here. You have there's environmental portraits, right? Which makes sense with these working shots. And then you have this up close portrait, which is a beautiful portrait. But I think it just belongs in a collection of portraits. So I feel like there's just a few different things happening and going on in this collection, and I don't know if you feel the same way about some of what I've said, Armin.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Felt Maker 2 and Tinsmith 2 are probably my two favorites, and they're both showing people at their working tasks. So I think like snapshot from the street, smoke, hello, they don't really fit in as much with the collection. End of a period even, I don't think fits as well. It's cool how the dog's in the foreground. So I would probably curate it more closely to these working, like these crafts people, and kind of give it a corresponding title.
Exactly. So yeah, like this one you pointed out is really cool too. I know you said dog, it's far away. The horse or whatever here, it's a brilliant shot, but it's a street capture that just happens to be a brilliant moment, but it just doesn't fit the story. right? It just doesn't fit the story. So like put it in the back burner for a story about those type of moments that it would be, and where, we're just we're just two opinions, right? But when it comes to collection, I think you can have a really nice collection of, people that are working within where this is Turkey? I believe it's in Turkey. It's interesting now being in Turkey it's Turkey. Being in Turkey for 2 weeks now, and then now looking at work from Turkey and thinking like, shit, where was this? Why didn't I get to document this? I just wasn't there long enough, and I just don't have access to this stuff. And it's a big country, but it's interesting to look at it now after being there. But you have a collection here about these working people, and so now your title doesn't have to be My Black and White World. It could be like, something about like a title that's more compelling about the craftsman of Anatolia, or wherever this happens to be, whatever town this is in, or whatever title you could come up with now that could feel more collectible than My Black and White World. Your black and white is, it's just too vague, sort of like and generic, like Arlen said. But I think that's the biggest feedback here. I'm gonna look at the questions for this and see if you have any. Anything. What do you think? Price points to criticize. Price what 0.12 across the board. That's really fair. You sold with my friend. That's is that the only? So the only one you sold is actually one of the ones that's from the working. What we're talking about here. So that's perfect, because on OpenSea now you can go in and you can eliminate some of these ones, like save smoke for like a really cool portrait collection, save snapshot for the streets for a street collection, save hello if you want, like end of a period. I would even maybe, let's see, what's this shot? Architectural weave element consisting of curvilinear surface, or surfaces built using knitting techniques. So I think this guy is a worker as well, but it also has like the street aspect to it. So I don't know if that really fits like the other ones do, but I think you get a good idea now that like end of a period, snapshot from the street, smoke, hello, these ones that aren't mentioned, like they just don't feel right in here. And if you want to keep these ones like coal production and like earning a living, because I know this kid works as an apprentice building these chairs, and it's like a decent like environmental portrait. I'm not crazy about his expression, to be honest. I think like that this is a weaker image for me. Even though it fits the theme, I'd probably pull that and run with this one instead, with this kid, with the weaving the yarn. But
Yeah, I think the earning a living would fit better if it actually showed him involved in what he was doing, earning a living, rather than
exactly
the way it is.
Exactly. It looks like more like he's caught like eating lunch on a lunch break. He's like eating a sandwich, and it's like it's not really a moment between moments that makes you like feel something emotional. It feels like it was clicked. It feels to me like it was the shutter button was clicked at the wrong time. And for me, I know that you're like a really great photographer, and you know how to click it at the right time, like this shot. Like that's phenomenal. And so I would if this was my collection, I would just I would remove a lot of the ones that didn't have to do with this type of work here at the bottom, and just make it a collection about these hard working class people, and that's it. But yeah, I don't have any other feedback on that from the questions that were given. That's AI. But yeah, no, I know this artist does a lot of different collections. He does a lot of documentary work. He's very talented. But yeah, he does mint a lot of work. I would slow down a bit on the minting, and I would focus more on curating your stuff to be more cohesive. And with that, I don't have anything else in the collection. Anything from you, Arwen, on that one?
I don't have anything else either. I agree with everything we've said.
Cool. Well, I mean, it's like what, 3:43? We almost hit 3 hours, and I think it was a really great session today because we had a lot of different types of photography. We had some collections that were like a really good example of like what to do, how to do it. I think we had some other collections that needed some constructive feedback, and we had a lot of people participate today and come up. And I totally respect all the people who first of all put their work on the line for strangers or other people to just talk about and critique their work, and then also be up here to come up and speak after the feedback is given, and take well to that feedback, and hopefully grow from the feedback. And so like I always like to say, like, we're just an opinion here. We're not trying to tell people what to do, because that's like not what we're here to do. We're just a host and a co-host that we look at collections, and we just give our honest feedback on it, based off of doing this. Like, this is our like 54th AMA, so we've done it a lot, and we've seen collections that have done really well, that are curated well, that have all the descriptions, properties, that hit all the marks. And we've had a lot of people that have had collections that weren't very cohesive, that changed their collection and seen sales, and has helped a lot of people. So yeah, I thought today's session was really great. I want to thank you again, Arwen. I know like last month you did like 2 or 3 AMAs with me as well. So you're always really, really helpful, and you add a lot. Thank you so much.
Oh, well, this was great, and I really, really appreciate everyone who submitted their collections. And Mike, you do so much work behind the scenes to coordinate these and select the collections and everything. And so kudos to you. The least I can do is be here and help out with the reviews.
Thanks so much, and and thanks to MetaJungle, obviously, for being like I think probably the most educational space for photography. I think definitely the most educational space for photography. I can't think of one that's more educational for photography within Web3, and helping artists. So without the platform, we wouldn't be able to do this. And so thanks again. And so I'm going to disconnect here in 3, 2, 1, and out.